Coahulla Creek Football Show, presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Homes.
Hello and welcome to the Coahulla Creek Football Show, presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Home. I'm your host, Brooks Carter, joined by the head coach, Drew Carter, coming off a big road victory in Chatsworth last Friday night, 36-0 over Murray County. Kind of got that monkey off your back, coach, avenged some demons from the first 6 games of the season, and really just a total team effort. Offense had their best performance of the season. The defense, maybe in conjunction with the special teams, pitched the 4th shutout in school history. And then, as I just mentioned, the special teams really made a huge impact in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge with all those things going right. Playing really complimentary football and just being able to put all those pieces together, and our guys see things happen, see themselves have success, and give themselves confidence in what our scheme is and how they've been coaching, and kind of reinforce the message that we've been putting across all year.
Now, before we get into the highlights and stuff, I did want to mention something that I was there to see it firsthand. And I know you talked about it on the pregame show going into Friday night's broadcasts on the Coahulla Creek Sports Network. Y'all did something a little different with the pregame routine. And then even further than that, I noticed you led the team out, running out through the sign. I've never seen you do that. So if you'll kind of start backwards to forwards there, what was the reasoning behind you leading the team out? I've seen other coaches like Nick Saban do that. What was kind of the thought process behind that?
I'm just trying to find anything different at this point that works for our guys. So I thought, what the heck, I'll do it. Maybe it'll get them a little juiced up. It sure did get me juiced up because it's been a while since I've run through a run-through sign. So, maybe selfishly I was doing it for myself, but it was fun for me. They seemed to respond to it. So I guess we got to keep that going forward.
And then secondly, as I mentioned, kind of a whole different setup pregame. You had guys playing board games in the cafeteria, put the cell phones away, and really kind of almost had a bonding experience pregame. I know maybe you might not be able to do that every Friday. It was early dismissal, but I thought that was a pretty kind of a unique thing to do, kind of a throwback thing to do with your team. Tune out the noise, get off the social media, and have a chance to kind of just hang out as a team.
Yeah, and the main thing behind that is, us as coaches, we're always trying to find something. I mean, even if we've been playing well or better than we had, trying to find ways to do things better. And just the bad taste of the week before, we just didn't feel like we came out ready to go from a mental standpoint against LFO. So we've been searching for some answers, and Coach Brewer brought that to me. Not that specific idea, but the idea that how distracting phones can be with when it's just unpoliced. Social media and games in particular, just being so distracting. So we basically did a technology detox there for a little bit, and tried to do that, and then did a little bit of like the sports psychology of like how to get yourself mentally ready for the game. I was pleased at how they handled it. Like you said, I think it was kind of a bonding, but the biggest thing is I think they just flushed the distractions and had ourselves getting ready to get ourselves mentally prepared.
Yeah, honestly, probably some stuff that even us as adults can take from that too, about staying off social media as much as we are. So let's get into it here. Let's look at some of the standouts and highlights from Friday night's game. So, Coach, big standout was Tyler Douglas, 125 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, was recognized in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution as one of the top performers in the state for this past week. There's probably, I don't know, maybe about 50 guys that get recognized each week in there. Ties a school record with Tyler Locklear and Peyton Gordon for most rushing touchdowns in a single game. Also had 3 catches for 20 yards, 6 tackles on defense. I said during the broadcast to Gary Carter, the biggest compliment I can give Tyler Douglas is he's just a football player. He's a Swiss Army knife. I think y'all plugged him in at linebacker at one point on defense Friday night. Usually starts at safety. He's a guy you can really just put anywhere on the field, and he'll do whatever you ask, and he'll usually make a play when he's there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times coaches and then some fans try to overcomplicate things when it comes to scheme wise. The bottom line is your best players, get them the ball and put them in positions to make plays. And that's what we're trying to do with him. He's got to carry the ball. He's got to get the ball in space. And that's when he's most effective for us, is not when he's just in the backfield carrying the football, because what's going to happen more than likely there. But, we try to get him out of the backfield some, catching the ball, put him out at number one some. So showing his versatility, and, with him, he doesn't care about that stuff. He just wants to help his team find ways to be successful.
Yeah, looking at some other standouts running the football, Waylon had a season high 93 yards rushing on the ground, ripped off a 30-yard run at one point in the third quarter. Biggest thing that impressed me on that run was it's kind of the first chance we've seen to show for Waylon to show any sort of top end speed. And I know you described him as deceptively fast. We haven't seen him really be able to show that speed in the open field, and he was actually pulling away from a Murray County defender.
Yeah, he's starting to get his confidence and feel for that stuff, which it's took him some time. He's a sophomore. We continue to say that. But the run game, he's gotten better and better at being able to read the different stuff that we're asking him to do each week. So now we're to that point of him being confident as a ball carrier and no indecision once he gets to that second level. Just go. He's a one-cut guy, and when he does that, he's really dangerous.
Yeah, two different ball carriers with over 90 yards rushing. Waylon just 7 yards shy of making it two guys with over 100 yards rushing in the same game. First time that we've done that since 2021. That's when you got quarterback and running back up there around that 100-yard area or more, you got a good chance to win a football game.
Well, it goes back to what I think we talked about it during the pregame show about us being balanced, right? And that may be more of an attribute to being balanced than the 50-50 ratio, right? It's different guys touching the ball that are playmakers. So you've got that combination along with he's distributing the ball well too to several different receivers and getting our best players involved in touching the ball. So he's doing a great job right now. And hopefully this confidence is going to carry over and we see bigger strides.
Speaking of getting the ball to some of the playmakers, Andrew Russell, 2 catches for 43 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty good average there. Every time he got a catch on offense, it was in the end zone. From that slot position, looked like you found something against that Murray County defense that enabled him to, get the ball across the middle. And once they got it to him, he did the rest.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff we were hoping to have from him, to start the season. And it's been tough on him, and we've been missing him offensively, not being able to have him as a big part of the game plan, because we knew that he's a matchup problem in there. He's twitchy. He's got enough top end speed to kind of hit the home run too. So he was definitely able to do that. And, he makes moves at the line of scrimmage and gets separation and makes the throw easy for Waylon. And we saw that. Of course, if you talk to Andrew, he'd be proud of those, but he'd probably also mention he should have had 3. You remember he had a tough catch. Waylon put a ball in a good spot down and away for him that he could have caught during the second quarter. That would have been his 3rd touchdown catch.
I think that was a pretty similar play or route there too. But also, as we transition maybe over to the special teams defensive portion of the highlights, Andrew had a blocked punt too in the third quarter that set the team up with really good field position. Very next play, Tyler Douglas rushes for a 25-yard touchdown. So bang, bang, punt block, touchdown. That was a huge shift in momentum, and really I think was the nail in the coffin of Murray making any sort of attempt to get back in the ball game.
Yeah, and anytime you can have sequences of events like that, it's huge. And Andrew made that play, and then we're able to come, like you said, that very next play with the offensive snap and go put 6 more on the board. Those are huge sequences of events, and we've been on the wrong end of that so many times this season. I say so many times, but a couple that have gotten games out of reach for us when we were within grasp, and we were able to flip the script on that. And Andrew was a key part of that. Special teams is just so huge this week, period. I think we talked about it. We created the block punt and then 2 fumble recoveries.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you had a bobbled snap too, which we'll get into here in a minute. And then also hit your first field goal this season with Brett Paws, first career field goal made, and I know he was excited about that. So really, all around, great effort on special teams. I know special teams coordinator Chad Brewer was probably excited about the special teams effort. But looking at, as we mentioned, Brandon Manus forced 2 fumbles. One on a kick return, one on a punt return, was actually able to force and then recover one of his own fumbles, which is that's pretty hard to do. Great awareness of where the ball was. Ties a school record, which we missed early in the season. I missed. I'm the one who kind of keeps up with the record book here. Shout out to Chris Ewert. He set the school record for 2 forced fumbles against Northwest Whitfield in the season opener. Brandon Manus ties it Friday night against Murray County.
Yeah, testament to Brandon's effort. I mean, when we've talked about him on the show or any interviews, we talk about how coachable he is, how high a motor, and the effort that he plays with every single play. Well, guys like that typically make really good special teams players and make impact plays on the special teams portion of the game. And he did just that and set us up with a short field a couple of times that were able to give us chances to score and get the game out of reach.
I've heard coaches talk over the years so much about how you got to win in all 3 phases of the game. And for a young football player, it can be easy to overlook how important special teams is and the type of impact it can play on a game. Is this the type of game where you can take that as a teaching moment and show your team, look at how much this helped us win the football game?
Very much so, because the mistakes that we'd had leading up to that, or maybe we didn't make those plays early in the season. You can only show that so much of the what if. Like, you've actually got to see the success and the result come from that before we can show it to them, like you're saying, and make them a believer in it.
Yeah, looking elsewhere defensively, Colby Ewerts had 1.5 sacks. That's a career high for him. Gets him up to 3 on the season. Ties him for the team lead with Chevy Joyce. He got a pressure on a bobbled snap on a punt, which forced a turnover on downs and set us up in good field position for our first, I believe it was our first touchdown of the night in the first quarter. And then he it's kind of was a busted play, but he ate the quarterback up on a play where I think maybe the offensive line, somebody jumped. I'm not sure what happened, but the offensive line didn't block him, and they never blew the whistle, so he just kept on going and sacked the quarterback for a big loss in the third quarter.
Yeah, big game there. I mean, I think we've talked about our defensive line a number of times, how quick those guys are, and Colby definitely is that. And he definitely has the potential when people want to try to single block him like they were trying to do a few times Friday night, can really wreck a game and a game plan if you're trying to do that. So really proud that he was able to do that. Again, hopefully he can use some of that momentum going forward.
And then finishing up, looking at 2 guys we seem to always talk about up on the defensive line from their defensive end positions: Jackson Lowry, Chevy Joyce. Chevy had a sack, and Jackson Lowry with 2.5 tackles for loss in the game, bringing his season total up to 8.5, keeping him in the top 10 in the region, and inching him closer to putting himself in the top 3 all time for tackles for loss in a single season.
Yeah, no real surprise with those guys. It's almost boring when you have to bring their names up because you know what it's going to be. They're going to be disruptive. They're going to have tackles for loss. They're going to play defensive end in a 3-4 scheme, and they're making 4, 5, 6 tackles a game. but it's kind of what we've come to expect from those guys. They're seasoned guys. Both of them are second-year defensive starters. Just got high motors. Their lateral quickness is unbelievable. They play with really good leverage, and they can make impact plays like we've seen them do time and time again.
All right. Once again, Colts victorious 36-0 over Murray County last Friday night. When we come back, we will have a senior spotlight this week, as I was able to get back and record the final three seniors. So you'll see those coming up over the next three shows. This week, we will have number 6, Carson Weaver, as our senior spotlight. That's presented by Lowry's Tree Service. And then after the break, we will look ahead to Union County coming up Friday night, as it is senior night at the Creek. Stick around. This is the Coahulla Creek Football Show, presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Home.
This is your Alpha Insurance Player of the Week.
Whether you're looking for a taste of classic seasonal sweetness or need to satisfy your candy cravings, DQ has something for every fan this season. So hurry into DQ on Cleveland Highway today and see what else is in store for fans all season long.
Introducing BioLite, the world's first IV in a bottle. BioLite is a medical-strength hydration solution physician-formulated to help relieve the discomforts of dehydration, like upset stomach and fatigue. If you want powerful hydration relief, try it today.
Junior's Building Materials, the Tri-State's headquarters with building products for builders, contractors, remodeling projects, and do-it-yourselfers. Junior's is the largest dealer stocking Trex Decking, the world's #1 composite decking brand. Trex isn't just boards and balusters, but a new way to live outdoor and virtually maintenance-free. For all your building or remodeling needs, shop Junior's Building Materials.
Junior's Building Materials, we always come through for you.
Now for this week's Senior Spotlight.
My name is Carson Weaver. I'm number 6, and I play running back and DB. Probably my sophomore year when we made the state, it was just a cool atmosphere to be in and play in. When I was younger, my parents just asked me if I wanted to play football, and I said yeah, and I just stuck with it since. Probably when Coach Carter had Maddox do the moonwalk here in the locker room, because he walked in on Maddox doing it, and it was just funny. We all thought it was funny. Probably the way they encourage you to do better each and every play, even if you made a mistake the play before. They don't let the games, like how they've gone this season, get to them. They just look forward to playing the next week and getting ready for that. I like to hang out with family and friends, and then I like to go fishing with my dad. Probably my parents. They've always encouraged me to do better, and if I've had a bad game, they're always there to just tell me that I did good and not to worry about the bad plays. Just to go out, give it my all each and every play, and even if we don't come in, just to leave the game knowing I tried my best. I plan on going to trade school to become a lineman.
Welcome back to the Coahulla Creek Football Show, presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Home. Coach, you welcome a first-time opponents to the Creek, Union County. This is our second team that we've played this year for the first time in school history. Took the trip down to North Cobb Christian earlier this year. This is one of those kind of two teams that appealed their way into the region that we weren't super familiar with. Union does some unique stuff offensively. They can present some challenges. I think they've got the one of the leading passers in the region, and their receiver is the leading receiver in the region. That's kind of their go-to guy. And I know talking to you, they do some stuff offensively that if you're not prepared, it can make for a long night.
Yeah, formationally and the way they look a lot like us offensively. They use a fullback, H-back type guy a lot. They're in some four wide stuff like we are. The biggest difference is though is they're pretty intricate in their screen game. And, knowing us and how aggressive we are on the defensive side of the ball, I would suspect to see a good bit of that to try to balance us out and try to slow down our pass rush and our blitz game. And that receiver is really good at running those. They do a good job of getting their back involved in that stuff too. So it can be tricky if we're not playing disciplined defense. But like I said, that they remind you a lot of us as far as what their skill set looks like, kind of how they look structurally on the offensive side of the ball. But they're coached up well, you can tell. So we'll have to have our game plan in place, and we'll have to execute like we did last Friday night and build off of that.
Yeah, it's a team that has really, it's kind of been a tale of two seasons for them. They lost their starting quarterback earlier in the year to a knee injury, and they've rebounded pretty well. They sit here, I think they're 3-2 in region play. They're still kind of in the mix for the playoffs right now. The latest power rankings have them in the playoffs, in fact, in Class 2A. And but this is a team that athletically they're not going to be overly more athletic than us. I think we match up pretty well from that perspective. But it's really going to come down to, as you mentioned, kind of a scheming thing. When it's going to be maybe a potential chess match like that, does that excite you as a coach?
It does. It's also a worrisome thing because, like I said, they can expose you if we don't play discipline. So, we can put everything in place, and that's exciting to do as a coaching staff. But at the end of the day, our guys got to have confidence in what we're doing and go out there and be able to play fast and make it happen.
Yeah. So, talking about our guys moving forward, wanting to continue the success from last week, what are some things that obviously we ran the football really well last week. We did have a couple of touchdown passes, but I don't think Waylon threw the ball more than maybe 12 times in that game. You didn't have to throw it that much. Do you feel like establishing the run is something that you're going to want to do in this game and throughout the rest of the season here as we wind down?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the goal. Like we talked about being balanced, of being efficient in the run game. And that's by far the most efficient game we've had in the run game. But us not having to play from behind was a big part of that. And then, there are some of those runs that had a pass attached onto it, and the read told Waylon to give the ball. So, there's a lot of different variables there. But the fact that we're able to control the line of scrimmage and have success and be efficient there is the biggest thing. So us being able to play complementary football and not get ourselves behind on the scoreboard may dictate that more than anything. You talked about that. I want to say we had maybe 3 or 4 passes that could have or maybe should have been caught too, that would have made those passing numbers look even better than they were.
Yeah, certainly. So, I know Tyler had the 3 rushing touchdowns. I'm not convinced from our videographer, Brad Sloan, got a great shot of that catch that Tyler made down the sideline where I thought he scored on the broadcast. Now, I was on the opposite sideline up in the press box, but, I thought he scored. And the video, the video that Brad shot actually looked like he never stepped out. So, but I don't know. I'm sure Tyler will get in the end zone any way he wants, but I guess he wouldn't have tied a school record if he would have caught a touchdown there instead. But nonetheless, it should be an exciting game Friday night. I think there's always kind of a fun element when you're playing a team that you've never played before. That kind of brings like a little bit of a fun. You love seeing the familiar rivalries and stuff, and we'll have that plenty from last week and the next 2 weeks with North Murray and Ringgold. But there's something kind of fun about welcoming a team to your home stadium that's never played there before. So hoping to get our first home win of the season on Friday nights. When we come back, we will talk a little bit about senior night. It is our last home game of the season. So got some special things going on with that. And during the break, you'll see this week's Coaches Spotlight. Stick around. This is the Coahulla Creek Football Show presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Home.
Your roof is the most critical part of your home, especially in the heat of the summer. That's why OC Roofing Systems is offering free roof inspections all summer long. Families in Ellijay have trusted OC Roofing Systems time and time again for our award-winning service and countless 5-star reviews. Protect your roof this summer. Visit ocroofingsystems.com today and schedule your free roof inspection.
Nature never repeats itself, and neither does Mohawk's Techwood hardwood flooring. Techwood is unique and one of a kind. Your floor should be long-lasting and beautiful, like the relationships you create at home. Choose Techwood for a stunning, natural hardwood floor for everyday performance. More moments are made on Mohawk.
I'm Coach Cameron Abernathy. I coach inside linebackers, and this is my first year at the Creek. In high school, I played for a great staff at Heritage High School, and there were a lot of guys on that staff, especially Coach Alan Broom, who was my defensive coordinator, who really inspired me to want to be involved in coaching. And I've always had an interest in education in general and wanting to teach, and I think coaching kind of came along with that as well. I think from the technology standpoint, the equipment is significantly different, just helmet technology and all that, but also the technology when it comes to filming, huddle, that stuff that we were still trading DVDs when I was playing in high school. If we wanted to watch film, we had to go into the coach's office on Saturday or Sunday or during lunch during the school day. We didn't have access to that on our phone. So I would say that's a complete game changer for these kids versus when I played. I would say more of an X's and O's guy. Would say I'm most of the time more even keel, but I'm definitely an X's and O guy. I love the strategy of the game. I love studying film. I love drawing up blitzes and plays. So I would definitely say more of a strategizer. The kids, the kids, man, this to me is such a significant point in their lives, and I feel like I'm genuinely making an impact every time I step out on that football field with those kids. Man, the kids are awesome. The coaching staff is great. The administration is great. The school is beautiful. The facilities are beautiful. I mean, it's just, I have no complaints. It's just an amazing place to be. Love golf. Love playing golf.
All right. Well, what's your handicap?
Prefer to not comment on that one. I would say last year when I was coaching at Murray County, we went down to Chattooga in a game that I think we were like 21-point underdogs in that game. We get down 14-0 early. We battle back and somehow end up finding a way to win the game versus a pretty talented Chattooga team. It was just a great game overall. It was down to the last whistle, and just a game that I don't know, I just really enjoyed being a part of that game. Focused, locked in. I'm getting chills right now, you just talking about it, thinking about it. Absolutely just focused, locked in. It matters, right? It matters. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than even this team. It's this community. Knowing that you're going to battle against another community, and there's some pride in that, I think, that I've held on to since even high school, when I was in high school playing, is you're playing for your community, your town.
Welcome back to the Coahulla Creek Football Show, presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Home. Coach, senior night coming up this week. I always liked it when it was the last game of the regular season, but sometimes your schedule doesn't always work out that way. We were able to do that last year with the final game of the season being at home against the Dares Bowl. But this is our last home game, and we got to go on the road for the last 2 weeks. I think my senior year was something like that too. But, always can be some emotion involved in that. I actually think that if the way I remember it being, it wasn't as emotional on senior night. I didn't feel like my emotions got the better of me because I knew there was still football to be played after that game. So I think actually having senior night with a couple of weeks left in the season can maybe take a little bit of the emotion out of it in a good way.
Yeah, I guess you're right with that. I tend to lean towards you though. It makes it a little more special though when it is the very last game of the season, or regular season. I'm hoping it'll be to our advantage, like I said, and that way it's not as much of a distraction as it could be. But you never know. We've got to do a good job of making sure that we honor those guys, letting them know how much we appreciate them from the commitment to our program, what they've helped us continue to build. But at the same time, try to go out there and take care of business and make that memory even better.
6 seniors this season, and they'll be all recognized as they'll come down with the captains. Isaac, a senior, has been a captain all season long, but the other 5 will come down and join him as captains on Friday nights. So that'll be special. Also recognize our cheerleaders, our media members, Ava and Jenny, who I've been grateful for this season. They're kind of like my if I was a position coach here on staff, they're kind of like my players, is what I call them. And then our band members as well. So always a special night at the Creek, but also we've got the pink out element, which should be really fun as we are honoring breast cancer victims and raising some money for breast cancer awareness with the T-shirts that we've sold.
That's right. Those came in earlier in the week. We had those out ready. A good bit of our staff ordered some. We got some parents. Those will be going home with kids Wednesday afternoon after practice. And then we also still have a few extras. We make sure we ordered a few extras that can be ordered or bought out of the front office. We'll have them in the spirit tent at the game Friday night. That way, if people figure out they missed out on something, we've still got an opportunity for them there. But they turned out great. Something fun to go along with the theme, honoring breast cancer survivors, and trying to donate some of those proceeds back to the awareness.
Yeah, should be a great night. Come out for the last chance to catch some football here in 2024 at Colts Stadium. So we hope to see you out for a big night and root the Colts on to what will hopefully be their second straight win of the season here. And that'll do it for this week's edition of the Coahulla Creek Football Show. For head coach Drew Carter, I am Brooks Carter. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you back here, same time, same place on our YouTube channel next week. Thanks for tuning in, guys.